learners, I am Dr. Sarbari. Today we are going to discuss about ultramafic rocks. Let us first discuss about the outline of what we are going to talk about in this topic. What are the ultramafic rocks? How these rocks are classified, their classification, and their megascopic characteristics of peridotite, which is the more common variety of ultramafic rock. Microscopic characteristics of peridotite, the rock types of peridotite, and at the end we will summarize what we have learned. Let us have an introduction. Peridotitic rocks, the ultramafic rocks, are not very abundant rocks. These are rare type of rocks. These rocks are commonly intrusive in nature. Intrusive, I hope you understand, is the ones the igneous rocks which intrude into other rocks. It means it remains below the surface, it does not come out onto the surface. So, it is commonly intrusive in nature. It can also be rarely extrusive in nature, like comatite variety. We will talk about these rocks later on. These rocks contain more than 90% dark minerals. Why these dark minerals? Because of presence of minerals like olivine and pyroxene, which are iron, magnesium bearing minerals. These rocks, the ultramafics, are mostly intrusive. They occur as layered mafic complexes. What are layered mafic complexes? These are the ones in which the magmatic rocks have layering. You must have heard about layering in sedimentary rocks, but the layering in mafic rocks is different. The layers are formed because of settling of minerals as they crystallize and settle down within the magma chamber in the lower part of the magma chamber. So, that gives rise to layering because of different minerals, groups of minerals settling down at different stages of crystallization. Peridotitic rocks can have mantle xenoliths. They are found as mantle xenoliths. So, mantle xenoliths are extremely important because we cannot directly study mantle. Apart from the geophysical studies by which we get indirect knowledge about mantle, mantle xenoliths give us direct knowledge about the rocks in the rocks and conditions in mantle. So, these are found as mantle xenoliths, which again makes these rocks very important to study. These rocks also occur as lavas, especially during Archean age, in which spinifex texture is found in comatites, which are volcanic variety of peridotites, ultramafic rocks. These rocks contain low silica. The silica content is low in these rocks, which is less than 45%, and magnesium content is more than 18%. It has high iron content and potassium content is low. So, you can see in these rocks low silica, high magnesium, high iron, magnesium content is more than that of iron, and potassium content, that is alkali content, is low. The most common ultramafic rocks are peridotites, dunite, pyroxenite. Dunite and pyroxenite are monomineralic rocks. Dunite, you can see the photomicrograph of dunite on the right hand side, which is showing colored grains of olivine, which is the thin section is observed under cross nickels, and on the other side you can see hand specimen of dunite, and it is green in color. This green color is because of presence of olivine. Olivine being olive green in color, it imparts green color to dunite. Pyroxenite sample you can see shown here, in which pyroxene content is very high. Olivine can also be there in these rocks, but the content of pyroxene is more. So, it is called as pyroxenite. So, these are the varieties of ultramafic rocks. When we classify ultramafic rocks, this can be peridotite, pyroxenite, hornblendite. Peridotite is the variety of ultramafic rock in which olivine content is more than 40%. In case of pyroxenite, pyroxene content is more than 90%. In case of hornblendite, more than 90% is amphibole. So, you can see in the ultramafic rocks, all the minerals which are present, majority of these are dark colored minerals. These are all dark colored minerals which impart dark color to the rock. Peridotite, which is a common variety of ultramafic rock, even though all the ultramafic rocks in general are very rare, but peridotite is comparatively more abundant variety of ultramafic rock. It is named after gem variety of olivine, which is peridot. Peridotite represents a group of ultramafic within in which there is more than 40% magnesium rich olivine. What is the magnesium rich olivine? What is it called? It is called forsterite, has very high temperature of crystallization, and in Bowen's reaction series, olivine crystallizes early. Peridotite is the variety of ultramafic in which more than 40% magnesium rich olivine, pyroxenes and hornblende are there. These rocks are coarse grained, has very high specific gravity. This high specific gravity is because of presence of iron magnesium rich minerals like olivine, pyroxene and hornblende, which are all iron magnesium rich minerals. All these ions, that is iron and magnesium, have high atomic mass. So, presence of these ions increase the specific gravity of these rocks. So, these rocks have high specific gravity and the rocks are coarse grained because these are intrusive in nature. So, they are coarse grained and the grains can be observed even without any aid, like we do not have to, we can see the grains with our naked eye. The rock is dark green to black in color. Nomenclature of peridotite depends on varying proportions of olivine and pyroxene, which are the most common minerals in these rocks, which are the most abundant minerals in these rocks. There are accessory minerals also. Now, what is the difference between essential mineral and accessory minerals? So, olivine and pyroxene are essential minerals, whereas accessory minerals can be garnet, spinel, plagioclase, ilmenite, chromite and magnetite. So, what is the difference between these two? The essential minerals help in naming the rock. It means olivine and pyroxene have to be present in peridotite, but accessory minerals may or may not be present. Peridotite occurs as xenoliths within a wide range of mantle derived magma types within the sequence of ophiolites. Now, where do we find ophiolites? Ophiolites can be found at subduction zones where oceanic plate subducts and accretes oceanic plate onto the continental plate. So, there we can find ophiolites and there we can find peridotite, and xenoliths help us to understand about the mantle. So, xenoliths can be can help us to understand the conditions in the mantle. Megascopic characters are typically, these rocks are bright green with a few black specks, and maybe these rocks may have blackish green, yellow, brown to red color. These different colors are because of presence of different minerals. Green color is because of olivine and the other colors may be because of other minerals. These rocks are massive to homogeneous and these are holocrystalline. Now, what is massive? Massive means when you see the rock hand specimen, it is compact. does not have any particular shape, then you will not see any layering. So, it is massive. It is homogeneous, it means everywhere when you see the sample, the rock will have similar texture, similar color, similar composition. Holocrystalline means the rocks, the magma has completely crystallized, there is no magma which has formed glassy component, and all the magma has formed crystals. So, it is called as holocrystalline. Layers present in case of layered peridotite. Now, layered peridotites, why do layering form in peridotite? It is because when the crystals crystallize and they settle down at the bottom of the magma chamber, these crystals may form layers. So, these layers may be of different sets of minerals. As the magma cools, different sets of minerals may crystallize and form layers. So, that imparts layering in layered peridotite. Mineralogical composition, these rocks like dunite is largely composed of olivine, and olivine being green colored, olive green colored, it imparts olive green color to the rock. So, olivine is olive green, whereas orthopyroxenes impart black color to the rock. Orthopyroxenes are again very common in peridotites. Apart from these two minerals, there can be clinopyroxenes which are grass green in color, and grains are coarse enough to be visible with the unaided rock. So, these are holocrystalline rocks, holocrystalline and coarse grained, right. There are essential minerals in which olivine is the major mineral, which is more than 40%, and apart from that orthopyroxene and clinopyroxene are also there. Accessory minerals are spinel or garnet. Apart from these spinel and garnet, there can be rarely amphibole present, phlogopite and apatite. What is amphibole? Amphiboles are chain silicates, double chain silicates. Phlogopite is magnesium rich biotite, apatite is phosphate. What are spinels? Spinels are high density oxides, garnet are nesosilicates. So, these minerals may be present as accessory minerals. Secondary minerals can be serpentine group of minerals. Serpentine group of minerals are phyllosilicates. These are formed by alteration of peridotitic rock. Peridotites get altered very easily, and serpentine group of minerals can be commonly found in associated with peridotites. So, these secondary minerals can be found very commonly. Texturally, these rocks are holocrystalline. What is meant by holocrystalline? Means the crystals are all formed, well formed crystals are there. It means no magma has solidified without forming crystals. So, it is holocrystalline. It is coarse grained. Coarse grained means the grains have nucleated and had large enough time to grow in size. So, that led to formation of coarse grains. When nucleation rate is low, crystals have more time to grow, they can grow to a larger size. So, the rock becomes coarse grained. Peridotites. There are different varieties in peridotite. Well defined olivine crystals may be surrounded by pyroxene and other minerals. Why olivine is surrounded by pyroxene and other minerals? It is because olivine forms early. So, the mineral which forms early can be surrounded by the minerals which crystallize at a later stage. I hope you remember about the Bowen's reaction series in which olivine crystallizes early at high temperature, whereas pyroxene and other minerals crystallize at a later stage. Since olivine crystallizes early, it can get surrounded by pyroxene and other minerals. So, olivine crystals form first and settle down in the magma chamber. Varieties in peridotite, we continue with this, where equal sized crystals with straight grain boundaries meet at 120-degree angle. forming triple junction. What are triple junctions? Triple junctions are formed when the crystals form, they get enough time to equilibrate. As the crystals equilibrate, for equilibration more time is required. So, this time is how do the rocks get time to equilibrate? When it cools down slowly, it forms 120-degree angle triple junction. So, these are result of slow cooling. Long olivine crystals may have rugged curvilinear boundaries. This is another variety which can be there in peridotites. Long olivine crystals are usually equant grains, but how do these become long and rugged curvilinear? Because when the magma which contains olivine, that is komatiite, having very low viscosity, flows as it extrudes onto the surface, it elongates during the flow of magma. Olivine crystals get elongated and that forms long olivine crystals. And it can also get rugged curvilinear boundaries because as the magma flows, obviously we can't expect the magma to be flowing in straight line. Peridotite mostly occurs in massive form and also as layers. From the base of gabbro intrusions, a cumulate rock is formed by settling of olivine crystals. Now, what is cumulate? Cumulate rock is formed when crystals which are formed at an early stage settle down and form layers at a lower level of the magma chamber. As the crystals settle down, they get juxtaposed against each other. So, that gives that texture which develops because of juxtaposition of crystals which are next to each other give rise to cumulate texture. And this is commonly found in case of olivine, which forms at an early stage, at which stage most of the magma is still liquid. So, the early formed olivine crystals have enough possibility to settle down and form cumulate texture. Peridotite rich in amphibole show concentric layered structure. These concentric layered structure form at the base of gabbro intrusions, which is cumulate rock formed by settling of olivine crystals. Here we can see photomicrograph of olivine monomineralic olivine rich dunite. You can see the black and white figure showing plain polarized light photomicrograph. You can see highly fractured olivine crystals, and also you can see black specks of opaques. These opaques can be other different minerals like spinels, it can be chromite, can be magnetite, ilmenite, which form at a early stage of magma crystallization. So, you can see these minerals forming, maybe some of these grains are occurring as inclusions within olivine. On the other figure, which is the colored one, you can see dunite. Both the photomicrographs show same field of view. One is showing plain polarized figure and the other is showing cross nickel figure. In the cross nickel figure, you can see olivine is highly fractured and the grains are mostly equant. Microscopic characters, we can see mafic minerals are more than 90%. So, 40% of olivine and pyroxene are there, are also amphibole may be there. Other notable minerals can be chromite, garnet and plagioclase. You just saw in the photomicrograph these minerals are present, right. You saw dunite, in which olivine is major mineral, and you also saw some opaque minerals. Orthopyroxenes are usually gray. Olivine shows second to third order bright blue red interference color, which imparts highly colorful view to the rock when we see it under cross nickels. The rock you just saw, poikilotic texture is common, right. So, poikilotic texture is common in peridotite. Poikilotic texture is formed when finer grains are included within coarser grains. Oval shaped olivine crystals get embedded in clinopyroxene and some also exhibit cumulate textures and display preferred crystal orientation. Different rock types of peridotite are dunite, which is monomineralic, in which olivine is more than 90%, Habsburgite, in which olivine is more than 40%, orthopyroxene is commonly enstatite variety. What is the enstatite variety? It is magnesium rich orthopyroxene, whereas diopside is magnesium rich orthopyroxene, which is less than 5%. So, these minerals olivine, orthopyroxene, clinopyroxene are present in Habsburgite, whereas dunite has only monomineralic olivine. Larzolite has more than 40% olivine, clinopyroxene and orthopyroxene. In case of verlite, 40% more than 40% olivine is there and clinopyroxene, both of these form more than 40%, less than 5% orthopyroxene is there. Commonly peridotitic rocks are found on the oceanic lithosphere. So, they are common component of oceanic lithosphere. They are derived from upper mantle and they are found in layered igneous complexes. These rocks are very important because these rocks contain important mineral deposits which may be associated with these, like chromite deposit, PGE deposits associated with these rocks. Let us revise a bit more about, because the variety of rock types of peridotite is important. So, let us again discuss about this. So, dunite is monomineralic olivine which has more than 90% olivine. Dunite is monomineralic rock in which olivine is more than 90%. Habsburgite has more than 40% olivine and orthopyroxene is commonly enstatite, clinopyroxene is less than 5%. In larzolite, olivine is more than 40%, clinopyroxene and orthopyroxene are also there in larzolite. In case of verlite, more than 40% olivine is there and clinopyroxenes and less than 5% orthopyroxene. And these rocks are common component of oceanic lithosphere because the magma is largely derived from the mantle. Let us summarize what we learned today. Ultramafics are mostly composed of olivine and pyroxene and these rocks are not very common. Most of these rocks are intrusive in nature, but some may be extrusive, like volcanics known as komatiites. Komatiites have very typical texture called as spinifex texture, in which olivine crystals are elongated. So, komatiites are the rocks which have spinifex texture formed only during Archean period, and peridotites, ultramafics are derived from upper mantle. So, these rocks are largely composed of iron, magnesium rich minerals like olivine, pyroxenes. Most of the pyroxenes are magnesium bearing, olivine is also there. The rocks commonly show poikilitic texture. The grains of olivine, which is very common component of peridotitic rock, are embedded in clinopyroxene. Some of these rocks show cumulate texture, especially in the layered variety complexes. Thank you for listening, dear learners.